Joe, I'm going to have to...
Stephen.
I wouldn't mind discussing this on the question I put on the agenda.
Go ahead.
On the city manager, I mean on the mayor.
Right.
Discussing Article 2, Section 7E. And, you know, I know that you do, you have worked very hard for the city, and you do things from the heart, and you really have a vision, and you spend a lot of time. But somewhere our city has gotten off, and it's the city manager's responsibility. And there's several issues that have come up today, and it causes a divide. And I think part of that's been part of the problem with the council is a divide. Well, even at the rally last night, I said, well, I've been working with staff on this and that type of thing. So I think for future cases, and if you're the mayor, that in turn you take and let the city manager do this and then distribute this information equally. I'm just going to read you something from the minutes. And it says, under the new council manager of government in Galveston, the mayor serves as the head of the city government for all ceremonial purposes. He receives service of civil process, and he presides at all council meetings. Apart from these, he has no other duties or powers except in certain cases of emergency. And those are the minutes from the meeting in 1962. Mrs. Kempner and Mrs. Kempner and I.
What was the day of that meeting? That's the year I was born.
Mrs. Kempner, while we had a lot of disagreements and things, we pretty much agreed that they wrote a very good city charter. And as you know, when it was done that this, and she goes on to say in here that, you know, it's a burden and that somebody else ought to be doing it the second term. But it does cause a problem for council. And some of the things that won't be accomplished, I think, end up the process rather than the issue. And so somehow, and it goes into everything from, you know, even with the Coffee with Joe from Alicia Cahill, I mean, those things should be done like at your office, not here. Just like, I mean, if I started calling Alicia and we had a coffee with Joe and lunch with Rusty and dinner with Elizabeth and cocktails with Linda and I. What I'm saying is it's not the way it's supposed to be, and it's really going to be the city manager's responsibility to start letting the public know and maybe put out some type of press release that, you know, you're the new city manager, this is who they contact. It does not anybody is able to, I mean, can't meet with people, we can meet with them, but when I meet with people, the first thing I tell them is you better call the city manager. And that's where the process in working through negotiations or at least getting the impression, because some people think that, oh, well, we're meeting with the mayor, we're meeting with the city manager in the same meeting, so we must be talking to council as well as the city manager, and sometimes maybe the attorneys in the meeting. So in order to make this a better process, it just can't keep going like that, and you got to say, look, that I want to do what's best for the city, and it does cause problems. I think everybody, or not everybody, several other people on the council I think would agree with what I'm saying. And it's not that we're upset that you're not doing it for good reason. It just creates a problem when it gets here because we don't have the knowledge. I think we talked about something this morning that had been going on and we didn't know about it. You brought something that was going on or something.
The desalination.
Maybe that was more going on. But anyway, it's just, I wish we would get back to what the city charter says, and we deal directly with the city manager. And even if the city manager says, I don't care if you call them direct, you shouldn't allow that because it creates problems. Just we email you, you send it on, and they go back to you and copy us. Because it's not the little bit that happens. As it gets multiplied, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I, for one, would like to see that we let the city manager run the city and that the mayor realizes they're really basically here to cut ribbons and welcome people. That's basically the job of the mayor. Not to go out and try to go to Washington and say whether it's public housing or whether it's you want to train, or because let me put it this way, if Elizabeth Beaton was mayor right now, you'd be giving this speech saying, I don't want you up in Washington talking about my stuff, I don't want you over there talking about this. So don't look at it as the person, because I brought this up, you and I had this discussion before we got elected, and you had even said that you had problems when you were on council before with that happening, and that we're going to try to avoid it. So it should be a consensus of what council wants, whether we want more transportation or a train coming. If the consensus is we go to Washington, it shouldn't be what you think, it should be what we think, or even at the HTAC meeting. But all that stuff, to me, people today in time, because of the way this has been going on, and it did start with you. I mean, you're probably not the worst person, the worst mayor in going what I think is against the charter. But it's gotten to where people actually think the mayor runs the city. I mean, I've been told before, yeah, well, why do y'all get involved with this city? I mean, the mayor decides that. I said, no, it's a council decision. So to me, I think this is important to have some type of harmony in this council or the future councils in running the city, of trying to take a back. I know there's things you want to get done, but the mayor's job is not to do those things. It's individual, but it's given the impression that the mayor has more power than they should. And I don't know, I don't think I'm the only one, because I know Rusty put this on the agenda, but it causes problems amongst council members. I don't know if anybody else has anything they want to say, but I don't take away from, and I've said this before, I think you do an excellent job. I've never seen anybody better at greeting the public and meeting them and welcoming people and you're probably the best at it. I won't take that away. But going that next step does cause a problem. And it causes a problem to work in harmony.
I hear you. Okay. Thank you, Steve. Who else wants to talk on this issue?
I would.
Go ahead.
So could we recess and resume?
Absolutely.
Because the Stavanger people are there, and I hate to keep them waiting now.
And Dottie had handouts that currently is requested. I can give them out now or later. It's just the excerpt from the charter.
Okay.
I didn't request it, but I didn't see it. All right, let's go. Yeah, in fact, we shall recess the workshop, or in fact, move to the next room.
It's the issue that you were just